Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast, so, you know the deal by now. Although, if you're a new listener, you might not know the deal, so let's run through it. We're talking games, movies, TV, and something from the week. That's basically it. That's the format. I do sometimes wonder whether I should change the format, but I honestly don't know what to, so we'll probably stick with this for now. If you're checking us out on YouTube, please do subscribe, share, comment, like, all of that good stuff. But if you're just listening along, whether it's SoundCloud, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts, pretty sure you can also subscribe. So, So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Oh my god, it is hot as balls. Hot as balls. How hot are balls, you might ask? Balls are as hot as the centre of 1,000,000 suns. It's unnecessary. That, on the other hand, is not. That is delightful. Oh, we'll come back to it being hot as balls. I have a confession, and I feel this is the best place to do it. I've come to the realisation, I've tried to ignore the fact that how many weeks has it been now that I've been saying, I just feel really out of sorts, feel really down, lack of motivation, all the things. Let's face it, they're all signs of the whole of the depression thing, isn't it? I can't get away from it. I have to admit that I'm depressed. I just can't seem to shake it. I can't seem to get out of it. Anytime I feel ever so slightly better, I somehow find my way back here, and I guess that is depression. And I'm going to tell you something honestly, and this is difficult for me to say because it's not a good thing to say. Honestly, truthfully, there are times that I look at depression and other such mental health issues not overly positively, and I'm like, it's fine, I'm a little bit in the camp of, pull yourself together, you'll be fine. But then I remember, immediately as that thought ruminates in my head, I remember, it's like, hang on a minute, you yourself have suffered with depression, with mental health issues. So it's not as simple as pull yourself together. The largest issue, and I think I said this possibly last week, is at this point in time I don't feel overly like I have anybody to talk to about it, other than obviously you guys. And at this point in time you guys don't overly have a lot of option other than the fast forward button. I just wanted to listen to what games you're playing this week. Shut up. But it's been going on a while now, and I'll give you some examples of things. Last night I went out of the garden because it was cooler out in the garden than it certainly was in the house. It was lovely, and I sat out there, and I very naughty smoked a cigar. The reason it was naughty was because it's not the first cigar I've smoked in the last week. Very, very, very long story that ultimately means that I had to smoke a second cigar to be able to use a birthday present. Because, stupidly, when I smoked the first one, I didn't select the right cigar, so I didn't get to use my cigar punch. Anyway, let's get off topic. And I sat on my own. Non-alcoholic beer in one hand, cigar in the other. Lovely evening. And I thought, this is like a version of meditation. Being in the moment, sort of thing. And the realisation that I really needed that at that point in time. Maybe it wasn't the going out and smoking the cigar. Maybe, in fact, it was the, I don't know, alone time, meditation side of things, like I say. Something else, and something that I'm going to talk about further into it, is I'm coming to the end of my current workout phase. And, that's good. Nearly completed phase 2. Congratulations, well done. But then my brother-in-law's like, oh, great news. You get a week off. And I was like, what? Oh yeah, you get a week off between this phase and the next one. You get a week off. And the panic, the rising panic that went through me when he said that, because again, working out for me is another form of, I was going to say maybe not meditation, then I was going to go on to say like centering yourself, which, let's face it, that's what meditation is. So, but yeah, and it's still on my to-do list of things to do. I need to have a conversation and basically say that not working out is not going to work for me, and I'm going to need to do something and try and work out what it is that I can do. And, I have these evenings where I sat out with all the best intentions, all the will in the world to make something of my evening, do something. And yes, I'm not talking about, paint a painting or build something out of something. I am talking about, play a computer game, watch something. And the number of evenings that have passed me by whilst I've just sat on the sofa and stared at the TV that's got something on. It's been this huge combination of things that's brought me to this conclusion. I am really struggling with certain aspects of my life. I keep coming back to this, and I keep saying this, but I miss my children a lot. My youngest went off to nursery today, It was my turn to take her to nursery, and it made me sad because, you know, I wasn't going to see her for the day. I was working. It wasn't like if she'd have been at home, I'd have been like, oh, you know, let's spend time together. I was working. But I remember saying at some point over the weekend, oh, I feel like I haven't seen you in days. Because I hadn't. Yes, I've seen you, you know, I saw you on the morning, but did I? I saw you going out the door to go somewhere because I went for a run and you were ready to go by the time I got back, and you went out the door. You know. Then you get back and you go off. You do whatever, and you go to bed, shower, something to eat, whatever. And over the space of like 4 days, I hadn't really seen her. And I'm enjoying spending time with her. The terrible twos are starting to, touch wood, starting to disappear a bit more. And I think because she's had an advancement in communication, I said to her the other day, I was like, do you think that you're coming out of the terrible twos now because you can communicate better, you can talk more? And I think those things go hand in hand. But it's that thing. I enjoy spending time with her, and I miss her when she's not here. And this is a child that I see every day. Then, you know, as for the other two, who I see a lot less than that, it's difficult. It's that, I really enjoy spending time with my children, and I never see them. So that is one aspect of things. So I've had to, I was going to say admit defeat, but I don't think that's the right wording for it. I've just had to admit that I think I have been struggling with a bout of depression. Now, what I want to say is, having said that, I do feel like I'm coming out the other side of it. But earlier today, I would have said that. The way my evening's gone, no, I wouldn't say that at all. So, anyway, had the quote unquote, had the boys round Friday night, rocked a barbecue. Not only first one of the year that I've had, it's the second one of the year that I've been a party to, but the first one I've done, first barbecue I've had. Is it in this house? Is that the case? That's bad. Very enjoyable affair. I did the barbecue. Got rave reviews, especially because the majority of the food that was being cooked was meat. And apparently, as a vegetarian, you're not supposed to know how to cook meat. I did highlight I've been cooking meat since I was about 10 years old. And Paul pointed out I am well known for rocking a mean steak. But yeah, threw a few shrimps on the barbie. There were no shrimp. It was like sausages and burgers. Like I say, enjoyed a lovely cigar. The drinks were flowing nicely. We did spend the back end of the evening sat in the dark, because for all the light that is in the garden, none of it actually illuminates anything, which is amazing. But something that I say a lot at these gatherings and events and things. A friend of mine from years ago used to say, no matter how civilized the company or the event, or how high, haughty-taughty or whatever you want to call it, when you get a group of people together, no matter what, the conversation at some point over that evening or time together will inevitably turn to talking about poop. And to this point in time, that statement, which at this I would say is probably over 15 years old, that statement, is still absolutely true. So there. So, as I said at the opener, it is hot as freaking balls. Me being the absolute lunatic that I am, I every year like to pick an insanely hot day to do an insanely long and difficult run. This time it was Saturday. Saturday reached 30 degrees. Obviously not at 6 o'clock in the morning, but you can chart the correlation. It's been that hot over the last few days that there was a day where I checked what the weather was as I was about to take the dog out, and realised that it was already too hot to take the dog out, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So, Saturday, get up at 6, out the door, let's get these 4 miles done. It was awful. When you've got something that's as awful as running is, then you add all of these various different elements to it. The heat, the sweat, the pouring, dripping sweat, the lack of sleep. That was one that I think really had an effect, because I didn't go to bed until like 1:30 or something, and then I was up at 6. So all of these elements added together, and it was awful. One of the few runs I've ever done where I had to walk quite big sections of it. It was just not good. Thing was, went out this morning. I always dread a Monday morning run. I always think it's going to be terrible. Again, touch wood, last few Mondays, the run's actually been okay. I went out this morning, and part of the run I ran up a big hill. So, swings and roundabouts. In the world of running, you got to take every run. Like playing golf. You can guarantee, you'll have a good game and a bad game. Or in my case, all of them are bad. So yes, coming to the end of this workout phase, brother-in-law keeps saying about this new phase that's coming, and keeps dropping these like hints and things. And already it sounds terrifying. He's using words like 30 reps and things like that. And I'm just like, cool, that sounds great. It's a weird thing, because we always have this conversation. I'll be like, effing and jeffing part way through, and they'll be like, oh, you love it. And I always say, I do love it. Even when I hate it, I love it. The Monday morning runs, like, you know, it's up to an hour now. And then the workout, I always say, if the Monday morning run hasn't got your week kicked off, that Monday workout, there's 2 bits of it that are just awful. But yeah, kicks off the week, that's for sure. Right, we need to talk about the heat. Okay? We need to talk about the heat. I've been thinking a lot about it recently. I need to speak to somebody now who is one of the people that is like, oh, it's wonderful, it's lovely. Because once I had a conversation with somebody who talked about how great the summer was. And I was like, are you a mentalist? Oh, summer's great. Summer's the best. Summer's wonderful. And I was like, how would you work that one out? And their reasoning was this. They said, summer's great because I'm actually warm for once. I was like, yeah, but you're like, you know, melting warm. We're not here for that. I know, because in the winter I'm always cold. And I was like, I mean, that just sounds like bad circulation to me. To the point that if you're always cold, you probably want to see a doctor. Because, you know, yeah, I know what it's like in that what you'd call the dead of winter, where you are just cold. And no matter what you do, warms you up. But that's not true. I say this all the time. The difference between summer and winter is, when it's warm, there is literally nothing you can do about it. You can't turn the heating on, sort of situation. There is no equivalent. Whereas in the winter, stick the heating on, stick a jumper on, stick a pair of gloves on, stick an extra pair of socks on, stick another layer on. Do a multitude of different things that make it so that you can get warm when you're cold. Summer doesn't have that option. So over the weekend, somebody on the social, a friend of mine that I've got on the social media, said, when it's that hot that you check into a hotel near your house just to get use of the air conditioning. And I was like, I really want to disagree with that, but that is a genius move. Absolute genius move. So I would like to talk to one of these, let's call them lizard people, right now, and have the conversation of, why is this good? You're sweating constantly. You go in the shower, you get out, you start sweating. So you never really feel like you're getting clean. You can't do anything. I had a section of the weekend where all I could do, because it was 30 degrees outside, was lie on the sofa. And that sounds incredibly lazy, and I am very much aware of that. But what I'm actually referring to is, it was physically impossible to do anything else. So that was my only option. Lie on the sofa. It's... You know what I was talking about, that dead of winter thing? These days, like now, 28, 29, 30 degrees. Check the temperature in the youngest bedroom, because it's displayed on the monitor, and it said it was 32 degrees in there. And I was like, yeah, these things are, they misjudge. That was until I went in to get her, and I was just like, how can you sleep in here? It's alright, because she had the fan on. It's so oppressive. And that knowledge that it's only going to get worse because of the way that the world is and the damage that's being done to the world, the global warming, it will only ever get worse. Every year's going to be worse. So we've got that to look forward to. What I was saying was, those dead of winter points in time, I wander around the house, days like today, the last few days, and I reminisce. I like, oh, do you remember when you have to put a jumper on? I walked past the bottom of the stairs where the thermostat is for the heating, and I was like, oh yeah, we have to put the heating on. Oh, I have to put a jumper on. An extra layer. Under Armour. I was wearing Under Armours. The winter gone, and I was like, I was missing those days, because I can cope. Yeah, there's a point in time where it's really freaking cold. Yeah, we get it. But oh man. So if you are one of the lizard people and you would like to come on and explain to me why this is so much better, I am all ears. I'd love to have that discussion. Delicious, delicious non-alcoholic beer. So, did I mention my latest obsession? I don't like the word obsession. I'm really into cigars, as I may have mentioned. But just I'm really into videos. So the ones that I watched a few recently of obviously hand rolling, because cigars are hand rolled. Hand rolling Cuban cigars. This is something that I saw a video on hand rolling Cuban cigars when I was 16. So it's not like it's the first time I've seen it. But I was watching a couple of videos the other day about people hand rolling cigars, and it takes between 9 months and a year to be able to hand roll a cigar. It's a hell of a training session, is that? And I love craftsmanship. I love it when people have abilities. I love it when people can do things. And I just keep watching all these things, which is the best cut on a cigar. I watched a video the other day about a guy who owns, pretty sure it was Davidoff in London. Which a shop he'd opened and has been there for 40 or 50 years or something, and him talking about the kind of cigar he would smoke with breakfast, a lovely breakfast cigar, and he showed how to light it, the ways to go about checking the cigar, and just all of these sort of intricacies that made the process just really appealing. This could be why I've smoked 2 cigars in the last week. But yes, it has become a little bit of an obsession. I find myself perusing websites on the internet, looking for cigars to buy. At the moment, I'm very much into sample packs. You can pay 30 quid or 50 quid or something and get like 7 cigars and 2 of them are Cuban and this sort of stuff. And I'm like, talk to me. Let's look what you got there. I think there will come a point where I might have to treat myself to just like a sampler sort of thing. But yeah, I'm really into cigar stuff at the moment. Maybe it's an age thing. I'm an old man and all. Lastly, on my list of things, something that happened this morning. I wanted to get the dog out, so went for a run, came back, took the youngest to nursery, came back, grabbed the dog, took him out the door. Right, let's get this walk done because you need to be out. And I was like, you haven't really had a proper walk in a couple of days, so let's go for a half decent walk, which we did, and that was that. And I was like, you also, because you haven't had a walk, you haven't done any recall training, so let's just nip down to the park and do that. Bumped into a couple of his little doggy friends, walked down to the park together, went into the park to do the training, and there was a collection of people there who all had dogs. Immediately not a small dog, not quite a medium dog, a bit bigger than a poodle, comes running over. So this dog goes into playing stance, and my dog goes into playing stance, and they're darting this way and darting that way and darting the other way. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's good to have dog socialization. Great. And then things changed. So the other dog, who was not on a lead, started getting really amped up. Like, oh, we're playing. And I could see that we'd gone up a notch. My dog, still new to this whole socialising and certainly the playing aspect, was like, oh yeah, we're playing. Still keeping the play energy low, but the energy at a certain level. Other dog just kept going. That level just kept rising and rising and rising. Next thing, still in play stance, teeth are bared, growling. This is the point where I go, hang on a minute, we're not playing anymore. This isn't playing, this is aggression. So we need to get the fuck out of it, because I ain't dealing with this shit. Then appears what is apparently said dog's owner, who proceeded to, I can't even say call the dog, just proceeded to say the dog's name reasonably quietly, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, the dog completely ignored. And this guy was just saying the dog's name, not really with any force or anything, made no attempt to come and interject, put a fucking lead on the dog, anything. So when I then saw how this situation was unfolding, I was like, we need to get the fuck out of here. So I was like, oh, come on, here we go, let's go, come on, we've got some training to do, come on, let's go, here we go, come on, let's go this way. And I'm going in the direction away from this situation, and my dog's steadily coming with me, and the other dog would not leave us alone. And I'm like, let's go. and get away from this situation. And this guy's like saying the dog's name and not really doing anything and not doing anything. I was just like, right, we need to fucking go. So we're leaving and the dog's starting to disengage. And then another tiny little dog appeared out of nowhere and was like, "Ooh, is there something that I can get involved in here?" And I'm like, "Let's get out of here." Problem being is, with the heat and the exchange and everything that was going on, by the time I walked away, my dog's basically honking. He's got this pig that if you squeeze it oinks, and he sounded just like that. And I was like, oh shit, I think the dog's broken. Got back, got him sort of in, got him calmed down. Like once we got a little bit further away, I was like holding his face and like rubbing his head and just, trying to calm down, give him a few treats and just really sort of trying to calm him and stuff. And I was like, look, we're not doing any training, let's just go home. Which we did. Got back, more treats, plenty of water, and he basically slept for a lot of the day. He was awake in the afternoon and stuff, but I was like, that. There's so much I can say. I've talked to like 2 or 3 people today about how awful that situation was, and I started talking to my brother-in-law when we were working out, and I was like, why is that always the situation? Why is it always the dog that is awful is never on a lead and has no recall whatsoever and doesn't listen to their owner? Why is that always the way? It was not a good situation. Anyway, you'll be surprised to hear no VR this week. However, I have pledged to get back to it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how. I might start by playing stuff just on the headset. Obviously, this is not the weather for VR either. So, the other issue I've got is I've watched 3 2/3 of a film this week. All of them are films I've seen before. I've watched Chronicle, American Werewolf in London, and Batman Begins. Reasoning is, I think, because of the way I'm feeling at the moment, that I'm leaning very heavily towards comfort. Like the equivalent of comfort food, but in like entertainment form. Chronicle, for those of you who don't know, has Michael B. Jordan's in it. But this is probably I would have to say this is probably the first thing that I saw Michael B. Jordan in, and he does play a school age sort of thing. It's got the guy in it, I can never remember his name. All I know is he was Harry Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man films, or was he only in one of them? And he was in the Metallica film and another film which I haven't seen, but I know is in Valerian. Basically, 3 guys find what is probably an alien artifact, meteor, whatever, gives them the power of telekinesis. Of the 3, one of them doesn't deal with the powers overly well. They basically become superheroes, but one of them becomes a supervillain. If you've not seen it, one of the interesting things about it is that it's all hand cam, which is often achieved quite well. It's not my favourite format for a film. I often find it to be annoying. It's okay in Chronicle. I really enjoy Chronicle. It fits nicely in my wheelhouse. Superheroes, superpowers, a little bit of vengeance, revenge feel, big superhero fights and things. For me, super entertaining. I got American Werewolf in London on Blu-ray, 4K, might just be Blu-ray. And after it for ages, and the Amazon had it, and then the price of it just went through the roof, and then they were asking for like 50, 60 quid for it. Coming up to Father's Day and birthday and stuff, I did specifically say I wanted it because I'd looked again and managed to find it at, normal sort of prices. And I got it for Father's Day. I haven't watched it yet. I wanted to be properly in the mood for it, which I was one night in the last week. Again, like I say, the way I've been feeling, been needing that sort of comfort stuff. Obviously, by no means a new film. If you haven't seen it, where have you been? Something that Sam has said to me a couple of times is, I know it's got an amazing transformation sequence, which it has, but he doesn't overly enjoy it as a film. I don't overly agree, but I can see where he's coming from. You got to work on the principle that it's probably the first half of the film is in a lot of ways quite slow. Not a massive amount happens. Until the transformation, not a lot has really happened. Obviously from there, at that point, it kind of rockets towards the end of the film. I love it. It's one of my favourites. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've recently put a deposit on a tattoo session for next year, which I think I'm going to use to get an American Werewolf in London tattoo. We shall see. As I mentioned, I watched Batman Begins. I'm just flying through these because it's not like they're new films. I have a weird thing with the Nolan Batmans, because Batman Begins is fine. It's a good film, but it's not a great film. There are a lot... that makes it sound bad. There are substantial issues with the film. One of the biggest ones being Katie Holmes. A classic case of terrible casting. Obviously, she was replaced for The Dark Knight, rightly so. It did feel very much like the right move, because she was hands down one of the worst things about Batman Begins. A few other issues here and there, but as the start of a trilogy, very much has the start of a trilogy feel. When it was a standalone film, there's a scene where, like, to highlight the early stages of him becoming Batman. And it's always baffled me, the scene where he goes to see who's not Commissioner Gordon at that point, but Jim Gordon, where he goes to see Gary Oldman. That entire section's like, why would you do that? They're just like things like that, bits like that. So yes, that it's a good starting place. I also have issues with The Dark Knight Rises. I imagine those issues are very much the same as anybody who's seen that film. But we're not there yet. I was saying to all of my children that I'm in a real Batman kick at the moment. Batman games, Batman movies. I've got bats on the brain. Been watching the 90s Incredible Hulk cartoon with the youngest daughter. It's like a thing we do. We lie on the sofa, we watch Incredible Hulk. Leanne said to some people recently, it's always been his dream to have a child that embraces all like the superhero stuff. So this is like a dream come true. And initially, when she said that, I was offended. I was like, that hasn't been my dream. You know, back in the days when I was all about, I hope I have a boy. At least I'll be able to, communicate and interact with a boy. Third time's charm. Oh wait, but 2 of my 3 children are big into superhero things, and the third of the children in question there does enjoy superhero stuff. So initially I was like, I don't think that's true. Why would you make a statement like that? Further down the line, me and the youngest, been watching Incredible Hulk. We're on series 2 now, which has changed to Incredible Hulk and She-Hulk. And I was like, nah, she's right. This is the absolute shit. This is awesome. We sit and watch like random superhero stuff. A lot of Incredible Hulk, which has a lot of the other Marvel characters in. So I like to see if she knows who they are. Every now and then I'll put like one of the current MCU movies on, see if she recognises people. A lot of Avengers stuff, because I think for a little kid, those movies are slow moving. Where's Iron Man? Well, Iron Man's in it for about 8% of the film. So, but do you want to see what Tony Stark's up to? I got news for you. So it's that kind of thing. She doesn't enjoy when the heroes are on the screen. She doesn't know a massive amount. She doesn't know a lot about Captain America. Just that she's got a Duplo figure of Captain America. That kind of thing. Like you say to a Black Widow, she's not really got a clue who you're on about. So we've been watching a lot of Incredible Hulk, and I'm not gonna lie, absolutely loving it. Loving it. One thing I will say is 90s cartoons, I don't think they really cared about the editing. I watch them now and I'm like, the fucking hell is going on in this episode? The editing's all over the shop. I had a conversation with Sam the other day, and the question was, what is the next game that you're looking forward to? And he had an answer. And I was like, alright, cool. Not a game that I would be interested in, so there was that. He then went on to say, other than that, there isn't a single thing I'm looking forward to. And I said, exactly. There is nothing on the horizon. And I'm just like, well done, games market, well done. You're at the absolute peak of thanks for coming, basically. Because of that, and because of my struggles with motivation things, I decided to go back to basics, get on the comfort food of games, find something old that I know I enjoy, So, as I said before, I'm on a Batman kick. So I've been playing the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight is one of those things that I always think I can replay it until I start playing it and remember that its replay factor is not what I always think it is. It's one of those things, because I've played it so many times, it's one of those things that every time something new comes up, it's like, oh, do this, I'm always like, oh god, I hate that. And that's, the whole game. That is, every time it tells you to do something new, it's like, I hate this bit, or I hate doing this, or I hate having to do that. Oh man, I'll just go and do the main mission. Oh, but you want me to do this, and I hate it. I am very much in need of something new to play. I thought I had a game to play. I saw a video the other day for a game. I was like, ooh, that looks good. That looks interesting. That looks fun. Let me just look for a quick review. 4 out of 10. Apparently it's awful. So yeah. It's bleak out there, kids. It's slim pickings games-wise. And by that I mean there is nothing to play. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do, because I am starting to feel like I do want to play games a little bit more. But there's nothing to play. I am feeling very much like I want to go back through stuff I've played previously, but obviously I've already played it and it's difficult to go back to some things. I will soldier on though with my first world problems, and I'll keep you, listener, viewer, updated with whatever transpires. As it is the way, as it is sometimes, I think. I do apologise if this was a little bit of a downer. I'm working through some stuff, but we'll get there, won't we? Yeah, we'll get there. Right, that's it. Talk to you guys later. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. If you're checking it out on YouTube, thanks. It means a lot to us, especially if you're subscribing. You can also like, share and comment. Helps us get the word out there of all the good stuff we're doing. If you're just listening, that's fine. SoundCloud, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts, you can still subscribe and let us feel the love. So there we go. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.